May these Leaden Battlegrounds leave no trace. Bullet Magic and Ghost Programs written by Uekawa and illustrations by Teddy. Mechanical designs by Naohiro Washishio. How do you pronounce those? I apologize if I pronounce anything incorrectly. So, it is published by Yen Press under their Yen On imprint. This is a light novel. And the following goes as that. I will be reading it off, but in case the following light novel synopsis will be this. The power to rewrite history at all costs is to deal with the devil. For 100 years, the East and West has waged a ferocious war, using everything from tanks to witchcraft, but the technologies and advancements of the West have begun to shift the balance. That all changes one day when Rain Lance, a young soldier from the East, finds a few mysterious silver bullets and discovers that anyone shot with them is erased not only from the battlefield, but from history itself. Soon after, he meets the bullet's creator, a ghost who calls herself Air, and learns that if he wishes to continue using his power for the end of the war for good, he will have to give her his freedom. So, and it's going to be for $15 US. It's rated for 13 and up. For at least the US, it's printed in the USA. This is through Kadokawa officially. You can also get this on Bookwalker for much cheaper as well, in case you want to do that. But what do I personally think about this? Personally, I do happen to find some enjoyment. The start with it, which like the first pages, like roughly 20 to 60 first pages, I found kind of boring, and then after that, it was fairly interesting with a bunch of action, and then just more like plot, I guess, just progressing forward, and then like the latter portions of it, like around page, like towards the end, after like around after the like big, I guess, villain fight that there was, I personally thought that was a bit, why was that included in this as well? But it kind of just slows down from there, but still kind of gives a little bit more plot. But it kind of just went like, huh? Towards roughly, I believe, I don't know which necessarily page, but probably towards somewhere in the middle, it just dumped a bunch of like background plot for the main character Rain here, about his background and what his relationship to essentially basically the war is. But it doesn't necessarily, I don't remember necessarily the nations on it, but there is both the West and East nations. You got Air here, who is basically a shoujo. No, not a shoujo, but you basically got Air here and Rain. You can kind of see Rain as like more of like a cool guy, but in like the text, he's more like, I guess, not like a cool guy. He's just more or less just a normal guy who wants to carry out his orders. Essentially, he discovered these silver bullets. These are basically like devil balls, which basically anyone shot will basically be erased from history or erased from existence. It's basically like a bunch of time travel stuff. Like you kill one person, you kill a major person if a person of major importance is killed, the entire like history and background shifts to something completely different. Art style wise, it's pretty well thought out. If you happen to look at it, you can kind of see that this is like basically a bunch of characters. This is like the main villain right here. Big spoilers, I know. Woo. You also got like another enemy right here. They're both basically saying they're ghosts. It's a really good art style. I would recommend to anyone who happens to want to read it. It's a nice story. It's not the greatest. I would say it's maybe like a 7 to 8 out of 10 for me personally. It's enjoyable. Would I pick up the second volume? If I find it and I feel like reading the second volume, sure. But it's just kind of iffy at points for me. Because, yeah, you also got Rain here, basically just trying to tease and all that. Basically, she says she's a ghost. Essentially, I mean, there's also a whole thing about ghosts in this. They don't necessarily fully explain it, apart from they're just souls who are basically kind of trapped throughout, like, these divinities, or like, I guess something akin towards like the 7 sins. Like they committed a sin, but what they did is basically they're stuck throughout the history, and they come out every time to simply just try and help like change or rewrite history in some way. Each of them get a special powers. Rain in this case actually makes the silver bullets to actually erase people from history. There is also, you also got Lambert, who basically is like fire that can destroy anything. Alec right here is basically anything that he can control, any living organism or any machine-based. Air is basically like, I guess, not flirtatious, but she's like very commanding and demanding in that aspect, and she doesn't want people to touch her because eventually it's later on revealed that she has a bunch of scars, so she's scared of touching and actually getting close to anyone. She gets closer to the ring. It's implied that they might like each other, but Rain says she has an unrequited crush on Athley, who is basically, they're both like Rain, everyone's basically in third year. I believe Air is the second year. I mean, spoilers if you care for it. Air is revealed to basically, any ghost essentially is just revealed to basically inhibit a body or some kind of like body in general. So basically, like they can just inhibit. In Air's case, she inhibited a dead body. In that case, that was just basically discarded. So I'm not gonna real. I mean, I guess I'm not gonna reveal much, but would I give a recommend? Yeah, it's nice. I found it's pretty slow to start. It picks up and then kind of just abruptly stops to dump a bunch of plot and then just keeps going. It's a nice story. I do happen to like it, but would I continue recommending is say, hey, do you want to read it? Go ahead. Elsewise, it's fine if you don't need it. It's not a major thing that I would recommend you should majorly read on. It's not like life changing. Oh my god, no. It has a nice kind of like mechanical design too for the like I guess machines. It's like supposed to be like two partners, like one person controls the actual like driving, another controls the actual like shooting and actually attacking. Rain actually uses like a magic of like ricochet, which is considered not to be practical in war, but he uses it quite well, quote unquote. There's a bunch of other stuff that didn't really necessarily make sense and I feel like it could have been left out. I haven't read Tanya, but I believe if you happen to like Tanya, the Saga Evil, with like the whole like magic bullet war aspect, then you probably would happen to like this, if maybe slightly. But yeah, I would recommend it in case if you want to just read it. It's not necessarily like a oh my god read it, but hey, go ahead if you so. If not, you're not missing out much. It's pretty good, but it's not like must read. So.